Welcome to this CMF member forum for a globally competitive net zero UK casting and foundry industry. I'd like to say a little bit about why we are here and why we are holding this forum. Of course, we know that the casting industry is energy intense. We spend a lot of time and money heating things up and then cooling them back down again. That heat is generated using a range of fuels, gas, oil, or induced heat using electricity. We also use energy in the form of electricity to drive all the equipment and machinery in our foundries. First, I'd like to outline why we set up an advisory panel at the end of 2021 and published a roadmap in 2023. The Climate Change Act 2008 commits the UK government of any colour by law to reducing greenhouse gas emissions by at least 100% of 1990 levels, net zero, by 2050, as advised by the Climate Change Committee's 2019 report, Net Zero, the UK's contribution to stopping global warming. This includes reducing emissions from the devolved administrations, so Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland too. While some may not agree with these targets, and there are certainly arguments about just how much of climate change is due to human activity, and also about whether what we do in the UK makes much difference, but nonetheless, change is happening. The government has a legal duty to act, and there are also arguments that the cost to global economies and to people's lives of not acting fast enough is even higher. Key issues for members clearly include the cost of energy, the challenge of how to be more energy efficient in our businesses, what foundry equipment will be suitable in the future, particularly if natural gas is no longer available, the price of carbon and carbon reporting, and the impact of all of this on competitiveness. We can be responsive. The government is issuing policy documents based on consultations and calls for evidence on energy policy and regulation, carbon reporting, carbon capture and fuel switching, and these will have an impact on our industry. And we can be proactive, influencing and shaping future policy, making the case for castings as part of the solution and encouraging members to make consistent arguments in support of the industry and manufacturing in the UK. It's important that we keep members informed about what is being done nationally and locally. Some of that might be around pricing, or it might be technological developments, including research projects, or it could be about new market opportunities. We also need to try to influence government policy by responding as an industry to ensure that policies are informed and the impacts of any policies on industry are considered. Government can't know unless we tell them, and what we supply needs to be based on good information and preferably on data, which is hard to get. So we set up an advisory panel for the industry, consisting of representatives from foundry businesses across the industry. The panel is chaired by Adam Vickery of Castings plc, with Phil Rawson, MRT Castings, and William Cook of William Cook Holdings Limited as vice chairs, but more importantly, the panel has representation from all processes and alloys, businesses of different sizes and in different regions of the country. Plus, we have brought in the services of an expert, Matthew Rhodes, to support us. Through the work of Matthew and with the input from the panel, we have been responding in a more informed and strategically coherent way to the significant number of government consultations and calls for evidence that have been issued on a range of energy-related topics, from reform of the energy market to electrification. We, and some of our members, have also been involved in regional initiatives through the combined authorities or local government. One example of this is the West Midland Industrial Energy Task Force, with its key asks around market reform, increased protection for businesses when purchasing energy, and allowing businesses to extricate themselves from supply contracts signed under duress. That then brings us to our own roadmap to a globally competitive net zero castings and foundry industry, published earlier in 2023. The roadmap was widely publicised and copies sent to politicians on all sides, as well as civil servants, plus our own foundries were sent a template letter to use to write to local MPs. A key ask of our industry roadmap is energy market reform, so that our foundries can access energy generated from sustainable sources at prices enable the UK industry to be competitive. But we also ask for support for businesses to help them reduce their carbon footprint. This may involve investment in new equipment required by changes to the availability of certain fuels, such as natural gas, so fuel switching, as well as for energy efficiency and heat recovery programmes. We also make the argument for castings, and particularly UK manufactured castings, as lower carbon products when compared with components made from other materials and processes. We also make the point about the risk of inaction and how this would contribute to carbon leakage from the UK. We can all recognise that foundries are a key part of the circular economy for metals, as significant users of recycled metal. Plus, many of our UK foundries already predominantly use electric melting, which is not the case in other parts of the world where there is a greater reliance on fossil fuels for heat energy. If more of the electricity we need can be generated sustainably, and we know that the UK can already generate some 40% of its energy from renewable sources, then this is a clear advantage for the UK industry in the form of a carbon credit. Castings made in the UK can be lower carbon products. Make it local, make it from metal. With greater recognition of this, the industry could be part of the solution for the UK, supplying significantly more components for the UK manufacturing supply chain. But we need to make the case clearly and consistently, and this is where the panel comes in to drive and provide a focus for this. We can clearly see some of the industry trends and new challenges for the industry in the UK. This includes greater sustainability and resource efficiency, but also some of these could be opportunities for the UK castings and foundry industry and new markets. We have actively engaged with the Transforming Foundation Industries Challenge, as metals is one of the key foundation industries. The TFI is funding and leading work on fuel switching, heat recovery and resource efficiency. One example of this is the TFI funded case study on the reuse of used foundry sands, which is being led by Sheffield Hallam University. This project has already helped to provide a focus for work in this area. It has also raised the issue of foundry waste nationally, and not just foundry sand, but also used shells from investment casting, as well as other wastes, which can be inputs to other sectors. It's clear that the next few years will continue to be challenging, but I think we can focus on generating a positive image for the industry as a key part of the circular economy for metals, as an industry that makes all the parts needed for modern life, for our national infrastructure, energy, water, local and national transport systems, and so on, as an industry that produces lower carbon products for our society, and one which offers worthwhile careers to those that want to make a difference. We plan to hold these forums for members regularly to cover a range of topics and share case studies, new ideas and good practice. Topics in mind are new developments in technologies around fuel switching for melting and heat treatment as the UK seeks to transition away from natural gas, projects looking at heat recovery, heat to energy and energy efficiency, resource efficiency and sustainability issues, including the reuse of foundry wastes and new foundry materials such as non-plastic packaging. We will also share information about new projects and funding opportunities that you can engage with. But these forums are for you, so please continue to come along, share your ideas and suggest topics we should be including. Thank you.